Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built, and today I'm going to tie up a whole bunch of loose ends on the 680G. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to tackle today is I'm going to fit the voltage regulator to the alternator down here. I mentioned it last week that I didn't have one. I went down to Zach's this week and I got a whole bunch of bits and pieces. So a lot of these jobs on the car that I've sort of had to stop and move on from, I've got the bits now to finish it. So that's what my task is today. So first things first, let's get one of these, the nicest looking one of these voltage regulators in and see if I can get it all buttoned up. Coat of black on the regulator, just make it look a little bit prettier in the engine bay. And now I'm going to go through, I've got to make a new harness to go between the regulator and the alternator. The issue is I don't have the correct colour wires, but you can see the colours of the wires going in the back. And I've only got a couple of different colours here, but I'm just going to use what I can, connect them up, and then put it into the car. It's a little bit of messing around, looking at the wiring diagrams backwards and forwards, but I'll get there. All right, so I've got my loom made up here and I've got to mount it down into the engine bay. Now, I have no idea where these originally go, but I have seen some footage of some pictures of them mounted just below the VIN plate, just down here. So I'm going to drill in a couple of holes either side and put in some riv nuts to hold it in. All right, so after spending all this time mounting up this resistor and all these bits, I've still got stray wires everywhere that I still need to connect up. It looks like this car actually had the alternator conversion done previously to the internally regulated alternator. So if any of you guys have got one in Australia that want to get rid of it or whatever, I think I'm going to have to track one down. I don't want to spend any more time on this right now, sorting through this mess, trying to find the correct wires to go back to reconnect up this alternator the way it was. I'm going to move forward now and try and work on something else. Okay, so one of the things I'm going to move forward and try and re-tackle is the mustache bar, which is up here. It travels from this side over to here. When I put it in, it was obviously the incorrect bar for the setup I have and for this car. There's a bunch of different ones on different years. I went to Zach's and got a couple of replacements, and I've got another one here. Now this one is more of a straight bar than this existing one's got a bend in it. I'm going to pull this one out, see if I can swap them over, and hopefully this will be a better fit. Although this one will need to go in, by the looks of things, probably with the ends around the other way. Let's get this mustache bar out and see how we go moving forward. I'm fighting this so much. I now have the mustache bar off, the old one off, but the issue I'm having is that I'm trying to do this without undoing everything. I don't want to take the whole diff back out again. I just want to loosen it up. What I might do is I'll drop the tail shaft down, and at least that will give me a bit more space to be able to move the diff up and forward, hopefully get it off its mounting bolts and move it forward so that I can get the moustache bar out, because it's sort of stuck in here and I can't get it side to side, it's stuck. So unbolt the tail shaft is the next job. Okay, so the camera died just before I managed to get this free, but I managed to drop the tail shaft, which let me get the diff up, move the diff forward. So now I actually have free movement of my moustache bar, so I can take this one out, put the new one in, and play around and see which one works the best. So now I've got this nice straight moustache bar, so I'm going to try and stick it in around the other way to what the other one was and see if this one is going to be sitting in the right spot. All right, next issue is, of course, now that I'm trying to fit this moustache bar in this way, the mount I made up for the fuel pump is now interfering. So for starters, I'm just going to disconnect the bottom mount of the fuel pump just to see if everything works the way it's supposed to, because otherwise why modify it if I don't have to. So I'll disconnect this mount up and I will mount up the moustache bar correctly, mount the diff back on and see if it all works, and then I can work out what I'm going to do about that fuel pump mount. Okay, finally a win. I'm gonna have to probably put a second mount into my fuel pump again because it is just connected by the top mount at the moment. I had to remove the other mount to get it in, but the moustache bar looks like it is the one that I'm supposed to have. It's correct. It's not touching anywhere of the uprights, but it's holding everything in the right spot without a whole bunch of tension. It is what we were looking for. Yes, a win, finally. So before I connect up my tail shaft again, what I'm thinking is I actually have a dowel for the gearbox. So it's time to see if I can just slide the gearbox back enough to get that dowel in and then slide it back on again without actually having to unbolt and drop it all the way down. And yeah, I don't want to do that. Well, let's see how we go on that one. So I've got the gearbox completely unbolted from the block. Starter motor is off. I've still got the gearbox mount connected, and I'm going to try and keep that connected for the time being. I'm going to take out the last bolt that I just had just holding it from falling straight away. And I've got to try and wheel it back far enough to get in this little tiny dowel. I was actually missing one dowel when I put it back together again, if this will focus. Yeah, it's just a little tube, basically the other bolt goes in, but it keeps the gearbox perfectly aligned with the engine. I've got one in there, but I'm missing the one on this side, so let's see how this goes. And hopefully I don't drop any gearbox on myself. I really don't, I don't need that sort of delay in the project. Not to mention the possible injuries. All right, I'm wrestling with this, trying to separate it. I've released it from the mount up the back here, but it's still quite difficult to sort of get it to move backwards. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the car back down low enough so I can get underneath it with a jack and take some of the weight and see if I can sort of move it back with some weight taken off of it. And yeah, I think that's the way to go. So let's bring the car back down again. Up, down, all day. But at least I've got a hoist that I can do that with. Oh, I love this thing. The dowel is in, so now it's time to bolt it back up again, and hopefully it will stay where it's supposed to. I'll put one bolt in while I'm under here, and then I'm going to do it the easy way and take it back up again. So the gearbox is all mounted up properly, it's all bolted back together, and that's all tidied away. Before I put this drive shaft back, connected back up to the diff, I've got good access at the moment to get up to this bracket here, which is the bracket for the handbrake. Now, I didn't have the cables that actually connect from this bracket to either wheel, but I went and picked it up from Zach the other day, so I've got this whole bracket here that I'm going to connect now. So let's disconnect it from some of these bits I've already got. This bracket's already on here, so I'll just, yeah, mix and match and see if I can get this to work. Well, as always, I didn't get quite as much done as I really wanted to today. I did get most of the bottom end, the little niggly bits and pieces under the car that were bothering me. I've got them tidied up. So the dowel, I know a lot of you did message me about that. Let me know that if I don't have it in, there is the potential that the gearbox can move slightly. You can sort of wear out bearings and whatever. That is repaired now, that's good. The dowel is in, it's all bolted up. The handbrake is in. I should actually bring the car down and actually check that it's working properly, but it's all connected up now, so that's good. The mustache bar seems like it is the correct one after looking through. There's 3 or 4 different types, and if any of you saw the previous episodes of where I was trying to fit it, it's all in there now. I'd also like to take the time to say a big thank you to all my new Patreon supporters. It really helps us out. I know it might be irritating to some of you of me always sort of going, you know, look at the merch or Patreon or whatever. The fact is that I really love doing this. I really do. But it takes every bit of my spare time and money to keep this going at this rate. It's really tough to build a project car. Many of you will know that it's expensive and it's hard to do it. Keeping it going at this speed is just it's really it's a lot of work. And any way you guys help out, that really does help move things forward. So have a look at the Patreon page. As I said, now you get the benefit of watching these videos 24 hours earlier than everybody else, and there's other benefits and stuff too. So anyway, that is it for today. As I said, Mrs. Jeff is now Friday only thing, so that's it, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.